I always wanted to be an activist. My parents were activists. My father's greatest heroes were Archbishop Desmond Tutu and Martin Luther King, and my mother marched on Washington with Dr. Martin Luther King. And I grew up in a household that was very idealistic about social justice causes. And when I got the chance to become an activist on these kind of issues, I was working with Amnesty International on their Stop Violence Against Women campaign for 3 years. And under that canopy of violence towards women and girls was this human trafficking subject, and it really caught me. And once I started meeting victims and survivors, it changed my life. It really rocked my world and sort of broke me down and then built me up in this peculiar way that sort of strengthened my resolve.
When you think of the best way to drive change, do you focus on governments, agencies, or are you surprised at just how much one individual can actually give practical help?
I try and direct everyone to get involved in this wave of modern-day abolitionism in their own way. So if you're a government, I urge you to write and pass the stiffest anti-trafficking laws, but always with a victim-centric victim-centric focus to them, that they have to make sure that they're respecting the human rights and the special trauma that victims of human trafficking undergo.
How difficult is it to get that message across? I'm thinking of governments here specifically.
You know, it's very interesting because so many governments have signed the Palermo Protocol at the UN against trafficking and have been part of the signatory to the UN Global Plan of Action. But 16% of those countries that are signatory have no convictions against human traffickers whatsoever on the books, none yet, and that actually represents 40% of the crime. So 40% of the traffickers in the world live in countries where there has been not one conviction against them.
Just as a final point, I mean, you have said that individuals can make a difference and they don't have to actually be directly involved, but they can donate.
Well, yes, every individual with their skill set or their assets can make a difference, can save people's lives. And the UN has a wonderful thing called the UN Voluntary Trust Fund for Victims of Human Trafficking, and it has a small grants facility that gives to NGOs that help victims directly. It's not for advocacy or advertising or fundraising. It's all towards saving lives and rebuilding them.